ahead and introduce. Go for it. Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to Peace is Spelled Through Communication. This is our monthly discussion that we have here on Zoom, and it was birthed out of reading the Peace Covenant every morning at peacedome.org, a group of us on Zoom, and we would love to have you read the Universal Peace Covenant at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern Time. And then after the Peace Covenant, we have these wonderful discussions. And peace is built through communication, birth through that. And we have different topics related to peace, peace related events. And tonight, I am going to be talking about kindness and being kind to the self and what that means. Well, how it relates to peace. And well, firstly, being kind is the number one thing for me related to peace because for a long time, I had a challenge being kind to myself, and I didn't know what that would look like. And our self-talk is really important. And a few days ago, we were having a discussion after reading the Peace Covenant, and the question was asked to me, what do you need right now? What would you ask yourself right now? Uh, Because I was kind of feeling, I don't want to say a little bit low, or I just was maybe not as present as I normally was. And it was brought up, asking ourselves what we need in any moment, like feeling a little bit stressed or feeling anxious. Okay, maybe I need to just take a breath, or maybe I need to stop whatever I'm doing and just, be still for a few minutes. Or maybe I need to call somebody. There's many things that can help soothe that anxiety. And how it relates to kindness is that I would always tend to push myself and really not listen, really not slow down and listen to what I needed in the moment. Like earlier today, I was feeling a little bit anxious and I just did some deep breaths. I just did some breathing. And that helped bring me back to center. So, talking to ourselves kindly. And actually, I would like to share this little video on Messenger. It's
Well,
from,
hold on, Stella. We got to do the
okay,
preamble first.
yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that. I'm just talking away. So yes, we have in these discussions, we have a preamble we read to set the tone and pace of the discussion. So either with Terrence Lamont or TJ read it for us. It'd be great. TJ, just notice you have the preamble. Wonderful.
I can do that. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please. As it is established in the Universal Peace Covenant, this peace is indeed built through communication. The open exchange of ideas is necessary for discovery and well being, for growth, for progress, whether within one person or among many. We come together here now in this meeting of hearts and minds to have a spirited discussion. This is an open forum. This is not a class. There are no teachers, and peace is built through communication. The live Facebook or YouTube discussion or wherever it live streams. In this experience, we establish the reality that we are all equal. We have a moderator who has been chosen prior, that's Stella Lynn, and chooses now to give of themselves freely and does not wish to push or cajole or manipulate those who join here today and those who might witness this in the future. For this discussion, it is indeed designed to share ideas, experiences, and understandings, and by doing so, come to a greater truth, each one sharing their personal experience with sagacity, with equanimity, both free of prejudice, so that thus we will come to know that peace is liberty in tranquility.
Thank you, TJ. And I would like to introduce everyone here this evening before
How
we
about you introduce yourself, Stella? Who are you?
Yes, okay, I'll start with me. I am Stella Lynn Boggio. I am a student, almost a student first, and a teacher, and the director of the School of Metaphysics in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'm coming here from the School of Metaphysics in Indianapolis, Indiana. And this is put on by the School of Metaphysics, and everyone is welcome. So, Terrence Lamont, if you would like to.
Hey, I'm Terrence Lamont, and the MPA stands for National Peace Ambassador because that's what I do sometimes. And then also sometimes I project loving energy out to people, and I experience peace on a regular basis. And I also experience myself and understand myself as a conduit on the planet for greater unity and non-separation, self-compassion. A leader in that way, and I'm a student and a teacher and a director and the National Peace Ambassador with this School of Metaphysics, USA, birthplace Springfield, Missouri, where TJ Jackson Bay is in the north in the world of cool stuff. They call that a segue.
Peaceful greetings. My name is TJ Jackson Bay, and I am a peace ambassador, and I enjoy reading the Universal Peace Covenant each day, as Stella Lynn mentioned, and I really enjoy the conversations that are generated through us sharing that energy over time as we have. So the invitation is open for anyone to join us. The invitation is open for anyone to join us today. If you received an invite to this, the link is now in that invite. So please join us. If you don't know where that is, we're streaming on YouTube, but the invite is on Facebook. And so you would go to the Universal Peace Covenant page on Facebook and find the event, Peace is Built Through Communication. And through that, you can join us live and join the discussion.
Join us.
Hopefully, if you were looking for us, you will do that and be successful. Otherwise, enjoy the sounds of our voices as we have a spirited discussion. So, Leanne.
Thank you. Thank you, TJ. Yeah, so kindness. What is kindness? Kindness is many things, but I would like to show a video. Louise Hay. Many of you out there have heard of Louise Hay, have read some of her books. She is no longer with us, currently on the planet, but she has left a legacy of teachings and positive messages. And I thought she came to my mind today when I thought about kindness, because something that she always would talk about is the first thing for anyone is to eliminate any form of criticism. And we tend to talk to ourselves more harshly than we would ever dream of talking to our friends, our family, our loved ones. And so many times I know I've been like hard on myself, and listening to Louise Hay, she gave me a boost of confidence and encouragement. So I just want to play a little video because she talks it's about 2 minutes. She talks about self-love, and that was brought to mind. That came to my mind related to kindness. So I'm going to pull this up.
Sharing the sound.
Sharing the sound.
You gotta click share sound.
Okay, well, let me make sure I can get this up. See, click share sound.
There you go. If you see that, I don't know if you're just saying that or if you actually see it.
I'm trying to see it.
You're trying to see it?
Yeah. Let's see. Share sound. Okay. Aha. Okay. It says enter your password to allow this. Okay. 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 Let me pull up. Okay. First, I have to get the video. Go to web. I saved it here. And we have some rain here, and I'm saying that could maybe make it a little bit slow here. Okay.
I used to do lots of different things, but I discovered that there's really just, if there's one thing that's almost magical, and if you concentrate on that, it will work no matter what the problem is.
Right.
And that is learning to love yourself, which means releasing all that self-hatred you have of yourself. Because we all go through life, you know, we're raised with no and stop, no and stop, no and stop. It's the first things we hear. And then it don't do that, and do what I say. And we grow up and we don't know who we are.
Right.
But we're trying to be something according to the rules, and it doesn't work. So we got to clean that garbage out and realize that we're pretty wonderful just the way we are. And yes, we can change. And if we change ourselves with love, the changes will be positive. If we're constantly nagging at ourselves and making ourselves wrong, and oh my God, you're so stupid, then the changes are negative.
Right.
So it's always a cycle. I used to do lots of different things, but I discovered that there's really just, if
I like to think of the subconscious mind here. This is your subconscious mind.
Louise Hayes got a lot to say. Hey,
And
hey, hey, hey.
every little
That's
time,
Louise
okay.
Hay.
every message that you had, every
She does have a lot to say. Okay. Wonderful. Okay.
All
That was
right.
a little, and I have to smile and laugh because that was another little bit by her.
That
But
made me think about my nephew, who I was around for his birth and all that jazz. And I was basically living with him and raising him when he was little. And I saw how his nature, he was just a very sweet little kid. And he just, he was very, like she said, he was a sponge. He just wanted to learn everything. He pointed stuff and asked me to tell him what it is. He's always wanted me to just teach him and just do all the stuff that I possibly could to give him whatever I had. And when he was about 3, wasn't around anymore. And some other people started being around him more, taking care of him, spending more time with him. And they taught him how to be negative and showed him fight, how to fight, basically. Taught him that fighting was important, that other people were his enemies, and that there were only some people who weren't his enemies. And so that created a kind of a consciousness within him that he grew up with, where he wants to fight all the time and kind of be a sponge. It's a big old kid, tall. My family is men are normally tall, 6 foot or more. And then his mother's family, people are normally kind of, husky. So he got both of those DNA traits. So he's a big old kid, plays football. He didn't play as well as he could have, but, a lineman type size guy, right? And now he's about 26, 27, and he's just caught up in fighting. And so it's just like what she said, it's like you learn how to be how people teach you how to be. So I try to influence him as much as I could with what I thought was positive or, healthy, but I wasn't always there. So he learned from other people. So I concur with what she is saying. I don't know what his inner world is like, but I know what his outer world is like.
yeah, thank you for that story. That's our inner world does reflect our outer world. And one little thing, oh, not a little thing, actually, no pun intended, because something I have been actually probably this last week endeavoring to practice more with kindness, speaking to myself, the mirror, when I look into the mirror in the morning. And again, those critical thoughts would come, and especially like around my weight, because I've lost and gained weight and I've wanted to be a certain size and gone through all that. But something I've been changing is speaking to myself more kindly about that. Instead of looking, when I look in the mirror, instead of all this negative, oh, you look this way, blah, 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 how could you be so this way, and all that barrage of thoughts, I thank myself. I thank myself for how I am, grateful for my health, and grateful for actually the excess weight. I'm grateful for what it has shown me and helped me to do and protected me for what it needed to. And I say this for anybody out there who's ever gone down that journey, because any type of positive change, whether it be a health change or moving or changing friends or doing anything for ourselves, it first starts with being kind to ourselves. I think there's some, like Louise was saying, like we're programmed. Somehow I got that idea or program that if I'm hard on myself, then that'll motivate me, and I guess in some circles, maybe it's coaching or some things, it's like, it may have worked for, I don't know. For some people, it may have worked. I'll just say that. For me, it hasn't worked that way. So I can see starting from a place of self-respect and love is always important. And whenever I'm trying to change myself to get that, then I'm missing really the point of this, that, it's loving myself unconditionally and valuing who I am. So that's one thing I've endeavored to really I'm digging more deep into that, especially with the mirror, in a mirror or photographs or seeing myself, it's the image, and just respecting. Self-respect is one of the first things that we talk about in the school of metaphysics when people decide to become students, and in our lessons we teach, we talk about self-respect, and that is very important. And that's definitely related to kindness. And how I treat myself is how I treat others as well. And I could have some stories about that. But TJ, would you have anything you would like to share about kindness and self-respect?
There are a few. I'll first reference the video that you played. I have a couple reactions to that. One, when she was giving the examples of no stop, no stop, no stop, like I felt that, and I remember that. And then when she went on to give the other examples of this kind of negative self-talk, like, oh, I'm so stupid, I felt that too. Um, like I physically felt it when she said it. And it hurt. Like it was painful to hear her say those things, even though she was just giving them as examples. And it hurts me when it definitely hurt me when I said those things to myself. I don't tend to do that as much anymore. I can't say it's 100% gone, but it's definitely significantly reduced over time. But it also really hurts me when I hear someone else say those things about themselves. First of all, because I know that they are absolutely not true. But second of all, the reason it hurts me so much is I also know that in that moment, maybe over time, but in that moment, there's absolutely nothing I can do to convince that person that it's not true about them, and that hurts.
Mhm.
Uh, um, she mentioned that the change will come, but she talked about the method of that change, whether we're using love or we're using negativity. And Estella Lynn mentioned there are some people that respond to negativity and come out positive. And whether I can tell you, I'm also not one of those people. I had a coworker that used that as a tool in his work, and we were working together. And by that point in my life, I knew that about myself clearly, and I simply told him, "I understand what you're doing. I understand why, but it does not work with me." So let's try a different way of communicating. And he did, to his credit, and we got along quite good, I think, in my opinion. So those are my comments about the video. I do want to share a story, a story that I thought of when you were speaking earlier and telling your opening story about being kind to yourself, and it was a pivotal moment in my life, and I'm almost sure that I've shared it in another piece of built through communication, but it's that pivotal, so it counts for this discussion too about a turning point in me being kind to myself. And that was as innocent a moment as ever. A friend was asking me what I wanted to eat. We were going to go somewhere and eat. And he was asking me, where do you want to go? Um, and I just kept saying, oh, whatever you want, or, whatever everybody else wants, I'll find something there. And he just stopped dead cold in his tracks and looked at me and said, no, TJ, what do you want? You're important too. That's what he said to me. And it was as if it had never occurred to me, right? That I mean, I knew that I wanted things, or I even probably in that moment knew what I wanted to eat, and but I, would always just defer, to the group or whoever else was there, and never really make that ask for myself. At least not for a long time. I'm pretty sure I did as a kid, but at some point that got shut down with the nose and stops and the nose and the stops. But it was in that moment. I think I was maybe about 30 years old, so it was a while back. And he said that to me, and I really took it to heart and thought about it. And those words, just stay with me. No, TJ, you're important too. And I mean, it took time for that to work on me, right? I didn't get it right away, but it stayed with me. And I'm laughing because just like listening to that video, even though I remembered that story earlier, telling it now, I feel what I felt in that moment, and it was not a gentle feeling and not a nice feeling, but it was a strong feeling, and it's one that helped me to change the way that I looked at myself, and in so
Yeah.
many ways, more than what do you want to eat.
Right.
So shifting that idea of no and stop, I'm realizing as I've been writing something recently, and trying to look at how it needs to be presented. I would like how I raised my nephew. I would like to be able to be like that, for that to kind of be the norm or the lead for how we interact with each other. And I think a lot of people want that. Like, one way of looking at that would be just to call it peace. Like if we were always peaceful with each other and always positive and trying to lift each other up. Like everybody says, that's how we should live. It's so important to live like that. But when we look at what we've done, with just the example going back to Demetrius, with what we've done to ourselves, to our society, the way we've lived. And there's been a moment where some of us did what we call wake up. And we said, wait a minute, we shouldn't do this. This is how I was raised. This is how television programs work. This is how media portrays political figures. This is what happens. It is this negative kind of place. The world. Things do seem to be like this. People do seem angry all the time. So it's like, okay, but I'm awake to this. So now what do I do? I can't necessarily walk around wearing white all the time and talking real low and being nice to everybody all the time and never say not, or never say no, or never say don't do that, or never say stop, or never say that's not a good idea. I have to do that, at this point. It's a very odd experience, where we have to turn around now. So we need the go the other direction stuff. the redirecting has to happen now. It won't have to happen forever, but there is a way that we need to embrace in a different way, no, and stop.
Mhm.
And I think there's something to be said for the energy behind a no or a stop, especially an adult no or stop, right? Adult to adult communication. Telling a child, you may yell stop to a child because they're about to run in the road. That's urgent and they need to stop. And it needs to be energetic and it needs to shock them so that they stop, perhaps. And then later we can teach them and, hey, this is why, I did this way. But an adult, knows and stops and redirections and things of that sort. I think there's something to be said about the energy. Just like, again, referring back to the video, is it being done with love or is it being done with negativity and anger and hate? Or is it done, peacefully and, conflict? Maybe sometimes it needs to be tactful and firm, but again, the energy behind it is what gives that power because tactful and firm can come with negativity or it can come with love. It can come from peace and still be firm. And I think that's a confusion that some people get is that, oh, if I'm going to be loving and peaceful, then I must be a doormat. That's not true. You can still be firm,
Right.
and you can still have boundaries. As a matter of fact, you have to, or you won't experience peace.
You won't. It won't be sustained, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, I would say, thank you. I would say, like, yeah, boundaries are very important. And, yeah, we live in this world and people are all in the spectrum, of some people are not so kind or some people are pretty kind. So, like we're saying, the stop and no stop, the energy behind it too comes out. Like you could be saving somebody's life, or somebody could, be about to walk in front of a car or whatnot. So it's very appropriate in that moment. And something I wanted to say too about kindness. Actually, we're talking about boundaries too. I need to have boundaries with myself because I was saying earlier, like pushing myself, like maybe when I'm tired or I need to rest or all that stuff, or shoulding. I'll say I should do this or that. Having boundaries and love is loving myself and being kind. And I also notice too, when I tend to not be so kind to myself, then I am not so kind to others. And then I go into judgment and start, like, subtly, I don't say it verbally. I've noticed this. I don't say, oh, I'll say, oh, hi, but then my mind, I'll have these judgmental thoughts. And I'm like, whoa, that's how I've been seeing myself in these areas. So I've been more conscious of that, more awake to that. And in my journey in this life, I'm seeing that more and more. So the basics, yeah, being kind when I look in the mirror, having boundaries with self. Yeah.
Yeah, I just was working with somebody. I was doing a counseling session, and they said they had this question. They said, "Well, why don't I know how to interact with people? I can't, when people are mean to me or whatever." She, was trying to tell me the story and trying to understand why she can't be nice or something like that. And I just wrote this long question, and I read like the first two sentences, and I was like, I don't even have to read the rest of this. I said the answer is you do this to yourself. That's what's happening. It's not about these other people. It's about what you are doing to yourself. And it took them like the whole session for her to understand what I meant. Like I had to keep rewording it and directing it in a different way and helping her to see that it's not about changing other people or even changing yourself so other people change. It's just about changing yourself. Just be who you want to be. Don't fall into these traps. There's all kind of traps laying around for us to start calling ourselves stupid or not believe in ourselves or whatever. It's like there's so many ways we can misinterpretations of other people, the weather, you know, uh, an electronic issue like we had earlier, we started late. You can take any of that stuff and turn it around on yourself and start talking bad about yourself and stuff. It's too easy, man. We got to really watch that because it's so easy.
I wonder why it seems so easy, because it does seem that way. Maybe it's like what she's saying, like earlier programming, or we see your family
Yeah.
do it.
Well, that's what it is because you become programmed as that. So then you have to get to a point where you stop. There has to be a point where you say, no,
Mhm.
Terrence Lamont, you're important. Stop doing that. Don't do that other stuff. Do the I'm important stuff. You know?
Right.
I'm reminded of an experience. We talked about the conversations that we have after reading the Universal Peace Covenant, and that we've done this together over time for quite a while, over 6 years. And there are times where we're talking. I remember specifically a time when I was about to say something, and then I pulled it back. I was like, "Oh, never mind. I don't. I'll just keep that to myself." And Terrence Lamont simply calmly said, "Don't do that." And that was the reminder I needed, right? That, oh, yes, my thoughts are important too. And not only that, there are people that want to hear them.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, we are important. What we have to say is very important. And that's being kind. Being kind to
That's
self.
being kind to yourself. You count, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, even as I'm facilitating this and bringing this up, I have this little like resistance, like, oh, being kind, what? It's because it is new behavior in ways, because like many people, like the SOP know, or growing up, I God love my mom, God bless her, she's still with me, but her mother tended to be critical. It was still that critical kind of spirit, like a perfectionism. It's got to be perfect, or we got to do this is, if this isn't right, or if it's not perfect, it's not worth, really, it could, I want to say critical, maybe it was done in love, but it, in how I took it sometimes is just being very hard on myself instead of being okay, kind. And I could turn that around too and say, okay, how can I do my best at this, or be excellent at this?
Well, for me, and I know it's for other people too, but it's in the universal language of mind. We talk about teeth being significant to how you take care of yourself. Like there's a part of that in there, right?
Yeah.
And that's a reflection of in the physical world too. If you don't brush your teeth or take care of your teeth,
Mm-hmm.
you might not like yourself very much, right? You may not even think about it
Right.
and about how much you like yourself or don't or whatever. It's not even on your mind. And so I recently I've had like I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been thinking I could get my teeth replaced or something like that. I've got a lot of like little things going on, structural stuff and whatever. So at some point I might want to do that, but I'm trying to not do that. So I'm just being healthier. So I
Mm-hmm.
brush my teeth more and more and more. And I'm seeing that as a big indicator of how I've changed the way I take care of myself. It's not to say that I didn't take care of myself. There's just been a change. There's been an upgrade, and that came along with it. If I look at some old pictures, like I've been thinking about taking all these old pictures and how my teeth used to look, and do like a progressive thing to see how my teeth changed and how my consciousness changed and how they correlate.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about doing that, and because I want to be healthy, I don't want to have to go and get some fake teeth or whatever. I just want them to be healthy because I can do that. I can take care of myself like that, right? But I'm watching how my drinking and how my money situations and everything has changed over time, and I'm getting better. When you get older, it's like you're supposed to start to look worse or something, right? Or be less healthy or something like that. Right? That's the prevailing thought form, right? But for me, I've gotten better as time has gone by. I've gotten healthier. and I'm really happy about that.
Mhm.
But I'm just gonna say, I'm saying for anybody that's listening and for y'all too, you probably take care of your teeth. And so to look at that as a contrast of, well, yes, there are some things I think I don't do so good or whatever, but then if
Mhm.
you balance that with how your teeth look,
Mhm.
I bet you could maybe see maybe there's a different way that you could see yourself.
Yeah, actually, yes, and I'm really grateful that I do take care of my teeth, and that's what you're saying that it's bringing that up. Yeah, that is a reflection, like, 'cause I think teeth helps you assimilate.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I I do, and I say I'm grateful. I have pretty good teeth, but I take care of them too. So,
Right. You don't just They don't just magically become good
no,
teeth.
Or
no,
stay good teeth, right?
Yeah.
hey, no, it's like I go checkups, I do all the things,
Right.
and yeah, and that's something because I know people that have had many issues with teeth, had to have their teeth taken out and a bunch of stuff, and they didn't take care of them as well as they could have.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's another thing about being balancing what like we're all doing, like finding the good. That's in one of the school's lessons, school metaphysics. I'll find the good in every situation, or look at the good. Like, okay, give ourselves praise. Yeah, self praise. Like, yeah, wow, good job. Good job for doing the dishes. Good job for cleaning the teeth. I mean, but those are all things. And yeah.
Micro affirmations. I was thinking about this phrase, microaggressions.
Mm.
And I was like, I don't like, it's just like what we're saying, knowing bad, right? Like, I don't like that. I was like, I'm gonna try to change that to something else. And then I started to notice that I was doing that to myself. I was saying, good job, or, you know, I'm glad you did that, or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute, these are micro affirmations. I'm gonna
Mm.
start expanding this.
Yeah.
I'll have a little celebration, a little
Yeah.
mini celebration, like, yes, after
Right.
I complete something I wanted to complete, even if it's small, right?
Mhm.
Like I probably said it when I was able to sign on to here. I was like, yes, made it. As a
And
matter
see,
of fact, I thought I was going to be later because I had something going on,
yeah,
before. And so when I realized that that was going to end and I could be here, on time, I was like, yes, it all worked out better than I thought it would.
right.
Yes, praise and gratitude. Gratitude goes with that too. We
So
talk about gratitude, and I've done that. I made gratitude lists, and the power of that goes along with kindness. And I know, yeah, Louise Hay and many teachers have talked about that.
I was
Gratitude.
gonna say, yeah, just to plug Louise Hay. I mean, my God, Louise Hay Publishing. Oh my God.
Mm.
There's so many books. There's so many I wanted to get my book published with her while she was still alive,
Yeah.
but that didn't work out. But she was obviously gigantic inspiration.
Oh
But
yeah.
she's had her hands in almost every spiritual thing that has ever existed since since she rose to fame. She's always been touching somebody and lifting somebody up and helping somebody heal.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, she's got a lot. That's all out there. There's all kind of things out there right now
Mhm.
that we can use, and that's the weird part. Is like, yes, there is a lot of media that seems to be negative and all this other stuff out there that doesn't seem to be healthy, but there's just as much healthy stuff as well.
there's
Right.
so much good, so much good.
Mhm.
Um, I think about this often, especially, when I'm interacting with people in day to day life, and people generally, yeah, there are some people that are having a day, but there are more people that are usually kinder than I expected because like Terrence Lamont's nephew, I grew up in an area and was taught everybody isn't your friend, and in a lot of cases where I was, that was true. Uh, yeah, people were not friendly at all. But as I've changed, even in the same going to the same places, right? As I've changed, I found that I experience things differently now, and people are, generally good and kind and outgoing and willing to help, especially the willing to help part. A lot of people are willing to help you if you just ask, or sometimes even if you don't ask. People are generally willing to help you. That's been my experience. As a matter of fact, some people are willing to help you when you don't want it. But that's okay. That, being the case, that's not the world. That's not, like somebody mentioned the media earlier. That's not the picture that the media tells you. The media tells you we're just all so divided and nobody gets along and everybody's fussing and fighting. But I'm here to tell you that it ain't true when you go outside and talk to people.
Mhm.
People are generally kind and outgoing. Even if, I mean, if they're introverted, people are generally helpful. If you are walking down the street and trying to find where you're going, somebody's probably going to point it out for you. Um, Even if they're in a hurry, oh yeah, just go, go this way and go that way, and they'll, or ask this person, they'll help you. I know they know how to get there. People are generally helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I'll just say two people that I've been studying recently, Bashar and David R. Hawkins, both said that there is at least 51% positive or good or healthy going on versus 49% negative or whatever. It's at least 51% on the good spectrum, so to speak.
Mm.
So I've ever since I heard both of them say that, I've thought about that. I was like, how
Mm.
does that work? Is that true?
Mhm.
And they say that if it wasn't, then we would have destroyed ourselves. If
Yeah.
we were actually more negative, we would have destroyed ourselves.
Okay.
So that seems to make sense.
That does make sense because, well, depending on where you're focused, I know some of the news stories where it seems to be all negative, negative, negative. It's like, oh, the world is terrible, so much bad. But if that were true, then yeah, we wouldn't be here. Not that there isn't stuff going on, but yeah,
That we don't
Well, I
like.
mean, 49% is a lot, but
That's a lot.
but so is 51. I mean,
right,
yeah, you
right,
got a 51-49 chance, not 50-50, 40,
Right.
51-49,
Yeah.
that everything's gonna be all right. You
right,
know.
Yeah.
yeah,
So it is about your attention, right? It's about where you put your attention, basically.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And
We could say, yeah, it's dark all the time because most, the sun is never up. But that's if your attention is only if you're only awake at night, then that's the world that you're living in.
You
But
wouldn't know anything
if
about it.
you give your attention to a different place or different space, if you wake up in the daytime, then it's light.
right.
Either way, right? You wouldn't know anything about the other one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we need the contrast then, which is what Abraham Hicks likes to talk about, right?
Right, yeah. Or just being aware, yeah, you're aware and then you have the contrast because say you wouldn't have anything to shoot for. But yeah, I guess it is a contrast to know like what you want instead of what you don't want, or I say good and bad, black, white.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with knowing and seeing and experiencing what you don't want.
Mhm.
I mean, we need to do
Yeah. If
that.
anything, it reinforces, okay, that is not what I want. I want
Yeah.
something other than that. And not only that, now I know how to get to what I want, so I know how to not go there.
But that doesn't, yeah. I wish we had somebody else on here who could tell us about like feeling like the darkness is more powerful than the light. I think that's where, and if it's just 2%, it is kind of hard to be able to tell the difference, between which is more powerful or not.
Right. It can seem more powerful if I put my attention on it and
Mhm.
I choose to immerse myself or just keep focusing on it, focusing on it. But then as what I'm hearing all this, what we're saying is that we need both, being kind, but then we need it's helpful. It's it's part of creation. It's
I mean, yeah, just having been created,
yeah.
you have to have these experiences.
Mhm. Instead of always positive, because yeah, I'm human, yeah, all that, yeah.
Uh,
But then I guess it's just how much we allow one or the other to be prominent in our lives.
Right. Because what is it? If we're focusing on fear or focusing on worry or just being harsh on ourselves, and then that's over and over again, that is influencing our lives. That is influencing our choices, and we're creating these things that we don't don't want.
Right.
I want, I don't know. But then wait a minute, why are all these people around me that are complaining? Why are these rude people? These things keep happening to me. Happening
Right.
to me.
So many people happening to me, right? And it's actually moving through you.
Yeah.
It's happening because you exist and you are there present and you can feel it. So you're experiencing it.
Hmm.
It's not even really happening. You're just there and this is what is. And you're like, oh, I can feel this. Oh, look at this. I'm having this experience. But then we judge it and we say it's negative, good, bad, unhealthy, don't like it, don't want it. And then what we were talking about earlier about the energy, it's like then we put that energy into it. It's like eating anything, any kind of food or anything. If you don't put seasoning on it and stuff, it just tastes how it tastes. But then people will say, "Oh, I don't like this. This wasn't good. Let's put some sugar on it, or put some butter on it or something and make it good." Um, it's like that's good. And it's like it was good just the way it was. There was nothing wrong with it to begin with.
was at least neutral, right?
Right.
It just was what it was.
Right. Right.
People are interesting. We do some interesting stuff.
We do.
Oh boy. Well, you know what we never said before as we've been on YouTube? Like and subscribe.
Uh-huh.
We're
Yes.
on
And leave a
the
comment.
and leave a comment. We're on the Maplewood YouTube channel, and we can grow that bad thing up. We can make it happen. All right. Look at that, Michael Jackson. Um, he already did it. He already made bad good anyway.
Speaking of songs, a song did come to mind earlier when Stella Lynn was speaking, and it was Whitney Houston's "The Greatest Love of All." Because in that song, I say Whitney Houston's, I actually was going to make a point to say George Benson also sang that song. And in both of them, you use the line, "Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all."
Yeah.
Hmm.
I believe
Teach
that.
is that to teach the children and
Yes.
let them be
I
a
believe the children are the future.
future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Come
Show
on,
them
Brother Whitney.
the beauty they possess inside. Yeah.
Give them a sense of pride. Some people talk about pride like it's a negative thing. Give them a sense of pride.
Right.
And, that means, allow them to believe in themselves. Don't
I don't
beat them
believe
up
in
with stops and no's and you're not good enough.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And the children
Tell
are.
them you can be anything you want to be.
Mhm.
The children are the future.
Mhm.
They have to be.
Yeah. And they're open. I love watching like children play when they're, as happy. It's like I can be anything. They don't before that time of stop, no. You can't. Stop,
This
no.
morning, I was showing y'all the meetup of some kids and their adults and their dogs.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
it was obvious it was some kind of meetup.com thing or something, because they were all showing up with their dogs and their kids, and the adults were all like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Oh, they were all meeting up, and then they went on their little group walk together. was really awesome.
Well, yeah.
All right. So yes, so this is Peace is Built Through Communication, our live YouTube discussion group now, and you can see it in many places. We need to make an audio version. Maybe one day we will soon. And yeah, so thanks for watching this. If you watched it all the way to the end, if you wanted to be here, we had some technical issues earlier, so we didn't really get it put out like we wanted to, but here we are. We're doing it for you because we want to interact and connect with people, and we want y'all to be here. So next month, you're going to be here because we're going to set it up right, and we're inviting you right now. Come and join us. You can go to peacedome.org and you can find a link, and you could also go to YouTube, or I'm sorry, well, you can go to YouTube because we're on YouTube right now. 6:30 p.m. Central will be live on YouTube on the Maplewood SOM page here. And then we'll also have it on the Universal Peace Covenant page on Facebook. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. You can't miss it. So join the Universal Peace Covenant page on Facebook. And if you have any questions or any thoughts, insights, things you want to share, we want to hear from you. Thanks for watching. And I'm the National Peace Ambassador, Terrence Lamont. For TJ Jackson Bay out of Springfield, the home of the School of Metaphysics, instead of Lynn Boggio over there in Cincinnati. Well, she was born in Cincinnati. She lives in Indy now.
Yep.
Her lovely mother is still in Cincinnati. And we are the School of Metaphysics. Join us also, of course, to read the Universal Peace Covenant, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. So we'll see you, and we love you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.